Very good. Very good. Acha ji. Assalamu alaikum. My name is Sharmeen Khan. Just तरह से साथ ने introduce किया. Thank you so much for joining. I hope others be join करते रहें as time goes on. Usually it's evening time और काफी कुछ हो रहा होता है आप लोग के लिए. So thank you so much for joining. So I am the founder and chief marketing officer for OpsSmart Global. We do one thing and we do it very well, which is mapping the supply chain and providing traceability. So OpsSmart is not a software जो logistics भी करता है, जो आपका ये भी कर देगा, वो भी कर देगा. This software was specifically built कि वो traceability आपके लिए provide करे. And I'm going to move to the next slide. Just let me know if you can see it, क्योंकि कभी-कभी हो जाता है कि वो आगे नहीं बढ़ती. So I hope you can see the agenda.
Yeah.
Perfect. Okay, so we'll just do an introduction of OpsSmart, how it works, uski livestock, because we do everything from livestock, poultry, seafood, and produce. Those pe main thoda touch kar lungi, and we can go into questions as needed. And then iski kyun Pakistan mein zarurat hai, and why actually the entire food industry needs traceability or regulation bhi usko usi direction mein leke ja rahi hai conversation, and the benefits of it. ठीक है, तो OpsSmart is a US patented trademark technology. So US Patent Office, agar aap jaएं, and on their website, if you type in this number, you will see our patent and our trademark for our algorithm, which runs the software. Hamara software is a cloud-based, soft-coded software that is web-based, not application-based. So aapko koi application download nahi karni padti. It is a web-based software and it works on modules. It's not a box solution ke aap, aap produce industry se aa rahe hain ya fish industry se aa rahe hain aur hum kehte hain ki ye hamare 4 solutions hai produce ke liye, ye aur ye hai 3 fish ke liye, aap inme se choose kar lein. OpsSmart is tarah se nahi kaam karta. As I go in further, we customize our solution based on your need. So everything that I show you today are samples of किस तरह से हमने अपने clients के लिए solutions develop किए. It doesn't mean कि आपका भी solution इसी तरह से लगेगा. It's configured based on your need. ठीक है. Moving forward, last year, US FDA had a food safety tech-enabled traceability challenge. Its evaluation criteria was need, innovation, usable, affordable, scalable, and droppable. I'm sure all of you are, AgriTech background. काफी कुछ तो इस चीज में आपको obviously पता होगा. इनमें से 90 plus companies applied for the challenge from all over the world. हर जगह से लोगों ने apply किया and only 12 were selected as winners. जिन्होंने who met this criteria and who the US FDA felt also usable and affordable and interoperable, ye sari cheezein. And we were one of the winners out of 90 people. So as a company, we were extremely proud to get FDA ka stamp of approval, kyunki wo to bahut hi mushkil se milta hai kisi bhi cheez ko. So this is something that we're very proud of. Some quick definitions, taaki we're all on the same page. I know traceability is a word jo har jagah istemal ho raha hai, but it's important to realize ke hum in OpsSmart, how we define traceability and mapping the supply chain. So traceability relies on data following a path of the food, jis tarah se wo produce ho raha hai, distribute ho raha hai, and bik raha hai. It can vary depending on aap kis tarah ke on the client. Agar aap sirf producer ho, to obviously aapki traceability will be different than somebody who is a farmer. And mapping the supply chain means gathering sari information aapke suppliers ki. So if you are a chicken producer or aap marinate usko kar rahe ho, to aapke jo suppliers hain, jo aapko spices and oils and packaging or different cheezein aapko provide kar rahe hain, unki bhi information map karna zaruri hai, because pathogens and quality of goods jo aapki supply chain mein integrate ho rahe hain, we need to know where they are coming from also, ताकि we can authenticate and have a clean supply chain, especially if you want to send it overseas, Middle East, Europe, United States, kahin bhi North America. You need to know कि आपके products कहाँ से आ रहे हैं. So OpsSmart works in two ways. It utilizes key data elements and critical tracking events. So KDEs are things like shipping, shipped ka hua, produced ka hua, received ka hua, its units, its measures, its lot codes. That's what we use to develop master data. ठीक है, वो as I go through, I'll explain more हम master data किस तरह से use करते हैं. And then critical tracking events are events or things where things happen. So even FSMA and USDA, जब वो नया law Food Safety Modernization Act, when it becomes law in November, this is what they're going to be looking at, कि चीज create का हुई, harvest का हुई, or transform का हुई. We can discuss that in more detail. They're very specific about these definitions. So these become critical tracking events, and the Hamara software works in two ways. So I see there's a question in the chat. Khalid wants to know, wild customized software for customers, what are the key? Khalid, do you want to expand on this? Tweakable parameters.
Yes, you were saying that you customize the software for the customers based on certain customer requirements and your own understanding of what should be the final product or the software for the customer should be. So what parameters do you change? Because you were telling me it's not a single box platform, it's just a customizable cloud-based software. So we tweak or
So Khalid, I'm going to take मैं आपका सवाल अभी फौरन नहीं आंसर करती. I think as I go through the presentation, शायद ये answer हो जाए, and when I get to a certain slide, फिर मैं exactly इस चीज को address कर दूंगी क्योंकि it's in the presentation. So just hold off, और आपका सवाल I think will be answered through the presentation, because it's a very good question. ठीक है? So how does our solution work? So we define our solution as scalable, sustainable, unique, configurable, interoperable. Scalable के मायने ये हुए कि you can be a small farm, you can be a small producer, yeah, you can be a very large corporation. Sustainable क्योंकि जिस तरह से मैं कह रही थी, you can be a farmer, producer, importer. OpsSmart हर जगह काम करता है. Unique and configurable क्योंकि we don't do a box solution, we build it for your need based on your requirements. So आपका जो question था, the first thing we do is we go into when we talk to a client, what we do is कि we say कि आपका सिस्टम क्या है, क्योंकि देखिए अगर आप कुछ ग्रो कर रहे हैं या अगर आप कुछ ट्रांसफॉर्म कर रहे हैं, आप चिकन प्रोसेस कर रहे हैं, हालत आपका काम क्या है, करते क्या है एग्जैक्टली, व्हाट फील्ड डू यू कम फ्रॉम?
I am basically an engineer based in Pennsylvania and Texas, Dallas, north of Dallas. I run or operate a company over here, but I have a mid-sized farm in central Punjab near Bahawalpur. And on that farm, I basically rent out machines and operate a modern farm over there.
So farm में you're growing crops?
Yes.
ठीक है. So my first question to you, again, if I come to you as a client, would be कि आपका, क्योंकि आपका farm वहाँ, you're already running it. And if you're running a farm, obviously आपका already you have a system in place. So we are a software company. We always believe कि हमारा काम है software. We do that very well. We are not farmers. We're not chicken growers. We're not livestock growers. We expect you to be the expert on this. So we come to you and say कि आप अपना process हमें बताएं, आप किस तरह से करते हैं, आपका क्या है, कब आप planting करते हैं, कब आप harvesting करते हैं, कब आप watering करते हैं, कब आप उसकी soil test करते हैं, कब आप audit करते हैं, कब आप उसका different procedures, processes जो भी आपकी हैं, उसकी packaging कैसी होती है, उसकी ship. So आप हमें अपना process बताएंगे. We will take that process and then we will create it into an RD, जिसमें हम उसको अपने सिस्टम में अडेप्ट करेंगे. आपका प्रोसेस जो आपने दिया था हमारे सिस्टम में हम इस तरह से अडेप्ट करते हैं. यू लुक एट दैट, यू से ठीक है ये 4 चीजें ठीक है, ये आखिरी 2 चीजें मेक नो सेंस, इसको आप इस तरह से, मैं इस तरह नहीं करूंगा, आई वुड ऑल्टर इट दिस वे. सो वी से ओके ठीक है, वी ऑल्टर इट हाउ यू वांट इट एंड वी गो बैक एंड फोर्थ. एंड जो एट्रीब्यूट्स होती हैं, जो मास्टर डेटा होता है, वो वी बिल्ड टू मीट योर प्रोसेस. So that's what I mean by customizable, unique, configurable, and interoperable, meaning कि आपके already कुछ ना कुछ आपने computer systems इस्तेमाल कर रहे होंगे, शायद आप Excel sheets कर रहे होंगे, शायद आप you're a huge facility like K&N and you're using SAP. So you already have some systems, digitized systems in place, I'm assuming. तो आपके जो भी systems हैं, we can, हमारा जो software है OpsSmart, with the EDE and the API interface, हम हर data form and type we can integrate into our system and provide you with one portal, ताकि उस portal में जब आप जाते हो, it will be www.opsmartglobal/Faisal Khalid's farm, and you will enter into that, और उसमें आपकी सारी requirements, needs, design, solution will be there for your farm based on जो आपने process अपने farm में use किया है. Not based on what we tell you, it's what you tell us is what we develop. Does that answer your question?
Okay.
And I'll keep going through, and I think it will make more sense as I go forward. So how does data get into the system? It's a software. Captures data many different ways. Again, agar aap large corporation hai, then you're using RFID. So anything coming in, scan to the system, an RFID reader, it's either going through some sort of a gateway, an arch, a conveyor system, or as things are going in, it's getting scanned. ERP systems, or we're keying in data. The thing is, agar anything has to enter OpsSmart, usko obviously it has to be digitized. So often the way it works, and I think Saad has also been talking about developing co-ops. The forum has been talking about कि अगर हम co-ops हों तो उसमें फिर it would be better. So often co-ops are very normal progression of our farming community. America में भी बहुत हैं, Thailand में भी बहुत हैं. Everywhere I work with clients, there's co-ops. So oftentimes what happens is कि जो simple farmers होते हैं, they usually do not have access to technology. They don't usually use technology. They can be trained. I think people are very digital savvy. And because OpsSmart is a cloud-based solution and not an app solution, what we do is we create a form which is on the farmer's phone, and they can very easily do drop-down menus and say, okay, I'm harvesting this crop at this day, at this time, and this is the crop. Or what they do is also जो हमारे बहुत से farmers हैं Thailand में वो करते हैं, वो handwritten चीज लाते हैं कि हमने लेमन ग्रास हार्वेस्ट किया है और ये लेमन ग्रास है, इतना वजन है, ये चीज है, वो चीज है, and they bring it to the co-op office. The co-op office then enters the data into the system, and then it goes through our cloud. It becomes integrated with the rest of the data of the co-op. And then the output depends on, again, just the recipe customer wants to do it. But of course, it can be on a website, on your phone, on your tablet, on your computer, however you want to do it. So that's the usual input and output of OpsSmart data. So we have over 15 years of experience doing it. ये मैं हमेशा use करती हूँ as a slide, just so people get an idea that we work with small farmers, like we work with large corporations like Tesco, Lotus in Thailand. So Tesco is a huge multi-million-dollar organization Thailand में, और we manage उनका सारा जो meat, poultry, swine, all of this type of stuff. So they have many farms. So as you can see, there's Thailand Poultry, there's Kingwish, there's CPF, there's Thai Food, NC Coconut. And this is just a sampling ताकि हर तरह का producer हम यहाँ list कर दें. So you see, because we have over 50 producers who use OpsSmart in Thailand for Tesco. तो उनका सारा data, कोई Excel use कर रहा है, कोई ERP use कर रहा है, कोई SAP use कर रहा है. We can integrate all of it into OpsSmart. But Tesco Lotus doesn't go to Kingwish's thing, या Tyson का record अलग, या CPF का record अलग. They only go to their OpsSmart portal. और वहां से वो जाके, they can look at all the information coming in and see a complete picture कि हमारे suppliers क्या supply कर रहे हैं, क्या बिक रहा है, कहाँ बिक रहा है. There's a whole business intelligence portion that they can access beyond inventory and beyond the supply chain. So this is very important just to keep that in mind. This is just a general flow of how a supply chain is mapped. Aapke raw materials hote hain when you're talking about farms, something like you are, Khalid, where ingredients are coming in, feed mill is coming in. It goes through receiving, quality control, production. This is the general flow of anything. OpsSmart has two interesting things. एक तो ये है कि above it आप देखेंगे it's got a certification compliance document portal. तो आपकी जो भी audits हैं, जो भी compliance documentation है, वो सारी they can be scanned in or uploaded as PDFs and attached to the lot to that particular product. ताकि वो as the product goes at the end जब आप ये QR code scan करते हैं, you as the producer can see everything कि वो कहाँ से कौन से फार्म से आया, कब रिसीव हुआ, उसको कितने क्वालिटी चेक्स हुए, उसकी कहाँ ऑडिट हुई है, कहाँ प्रोड्यूस हुआ, कितना प्रोड्यूस हुआ. And only if you need it. If you don't need it, then of course you would only see the production data, and we can go into that in further detail. But also all the warehouse management information, inventory, stock number, order number, lot number, quality of good, किधर farm, कहाँ farm, कौन सी date. Those are all the master data जो हर जगह हमेशा जरूरी होता है. So this is just a general flow of the map of how supply moves. Now this is a little bit more. Wait, there's another question in the chat. Shahzad, how do farmers tap who are not using any sort of technology at present? So Shahzad, मैंने जो when I talked about co-ops and the handwritten जो inventory अक्सर लोग लेके आते हैं, farmers लेके आते हैं, did that answer your question, Shahzad? Yeah, do you want me to expand on it?
Okay, thank you for taking the question.
No, absolutely.
Actually, the kind of problem I can see with that is कि वो आपके पास एक handwritten receipt तो लेके आ जाएंगे, but the produce is not being tracked anywhere, right? Because they generally directly go to the mandi, or middleman comes in and picks the things from them. तो अभी as per now, I suppose कि major जो part है वो they are not into sort of this ecosystem कि जहाँ पे कोई traceability उसकी हम record कर सके, ये mark कर सकें. तो उसके लिए like वो रसीद तो अगर चले आपके सिस्टम के अंदर तो आ जाएगी, बट उसकी प्रोड्यूस के साथ क्या हो रहा है, कहाँ जा रही है, कहाँ लोड अनलोड हो रही है, किधर आगे मार्केट हो रही है, पैक हो रही है, तो वो चीज तो वो कैसे रिकॉर्ड होगी? हाउ टू कैटर फॉर दैट?
तो that's the whole thing about mapping it ना. तो देखें अगर आप छोटे फार्मर से शुरू कर रहे हैं, ठीक है, उसने let's talk about आलू, ठीक है, he is growing potatoes, उसने आलू अपने हार्वेस्ट किए, फिर उसका वो मिडल मैन आता है, क्योंकि this is the thing that I've been trying to also, क्योंकि living in the US और मैं फार्मिंग बैकग्राउंड से नहीं हूँ, especially पाकिस्तान से, तो I've been educating myself कि कितने मिडलमैन पाकिस्तान में हैं, and जिस तरह से आपने मंडी का जिक्र किया, तो बीच में आया और सारे आलू उस एरिया के को मिंगल हो गए and they become one big lot. ठीक है, am I understanding it correctly so far?
Yeah, okay.
ठीक है, तो वो उधर हो गए. फिर आगे as they move forward, हमने एक सिस्टम क्रिएट करना है, and it has to come from top to bottom and bottom to top, के हम हर चीज को at least कैप्चर करें कि वो जो आलू वो मिडिल मैन ने पिक किए वो कौन से एरिया से पिक किए. ठीक है, because you cannot early on you can't expect कि हर चीज आप कैप्चर कर सकोगे, और ये चीज जो है इम्प्लीमेंट करना at a very small farm is also difficult. इसीलिए I think the solution to begin with is a solution जो small farm से हो सकता है, लेकिन वो जो मंडी वाला है, जो middleman है, who's picking up and co-mingling, he should be required to at least enter into, अगर हम आपको सिस्टम बना के देते हैं कि भाई ये अपने फोन पे तुम बता दो कि तुमने ये जो 25 kg आलू जहां से उठाए वो कहाँ से उठाए, इज इट दिस, क्योंकि हर जगह फ्रॉम माय अंडरस्टैंडिंग और जो मैंने देखा है, चक नंबर कुछ ना कुछ तो होता है, रीजनल नंबरिंग, कौन सा एरिया है, किधर एरिया है, कहाँ से आ रहा है, वो तो इजीली कर सकते हैं. एंड द थिंग इज कि ये जो आगे आई वाज गोइंग टू एक्सप्लेन दिस इज OpsSmart is not an English based system. It's multilingual.
Okay. Actually, the point was that abhi tak maybe perhaps this kind of solution may not be, appropriate for that kind of ecosystem जो कि अभी major, पाकिस्तान में तो वे यही है कि, इसी तरह से informal तरह से ही चीजें आगे जा रही होती हैं. तो perhaps we need to intervene somewhere, bring some sort of, maybe I don't know, the hardware or whatever. तो उसको कोई स्मार्टफोन दे दें, कहें कि ये पिक्चर्स ले लो एंड देन टैग करो कि लोकेशन कौन सी एंड सो ऑन. सो आई वाज बिट क्यूरियस कि ये सिस्टम उसको क्या एड्रेस कर रहे हैं एट प्रेजेंट और नॉट. सो अपेरेंटली वी नीड टू डू समथिंग कि हमें मिडल मैन को कहीं सिस्टम के साथ कनेक्ट करना है, लेके आना है, राइट?
कनेक्ट तो करना पड़ेगा और हार्डवेयर की ऐसी कोई जरूरत नहीं है क्योंकि ऑल मिडलमैन को रियली जो उसके हाथ में जो फोन है, that is all the middleware needs.
Okay, yeah. So that's what I was referring to, right? Okay.
हाँ, तो as long as he has the phone और उसको अगर आप middleman जब एक दफा आलू एक जगह से उठा रहा है and then he goes उसके आगे the next handover point जो है, अगर हर point पे आप address करें and say कि आपने जो final collection point है, अगर final collection point अगर आप हमारे पास आलू अपने ड्रॉप करने आ रहे हैं तो भाई हमें ये 5 pieces of information चाहिए. हमें चाहिए कि वो लैंड किस तरह से हुआ, वो आलू कौन से एरिया से आ रहा है, वो कौन सा टाइप ऑफ आलू है, कि आलू की भी 25 किस्में. ये अगर आप और फार्म का अगर इन इट डिपेंड्स व्हाट टाइप ऑफ डेटा यू वांट. तो जो मैं मास्टर डेटा की बात कर रही थी, तो ये जो ग्रीन बॉक्सेस सारे हैं, दिस इज मास्टर डेटा. तो आप इनमें से 5 चीजें पिक कर लें कि आप लैंड प्रिपरेशन ले लें, आप प्लांट ले लें, आप हार्वेस्ट डेट ले लें, आप फार्मर का नाम ले लें. ये 5 चीजें, और अगर आप उस बंदे को कहें कि आपने आलू अगर हमें बेचने तो आप ये 5 चीजें जरूर हर एरिया से आप नोट करके ले आए. बेशक वो कोमिंगल हो जाए, लेकिन
got it.
ठीक है.
Okay. Yeah,
ठीक है.
perfect. Okay, thank you.
You're very welcome. So in moving on, I mean, this question makes sense in this point also क्योंकि this is the general flow of जब हम कोई भी कस्टमर से बात करते हैं, then we go into the second stage, which is we do a trace flow, or we map it. So this is a solution for one of our customers के he's a farmer, उसने land preparation करनी है, planting करनी है, pesticide application, fertilizer application, and the material receipt. ये सारी चीजें enter into the supply chain होना जरूरी है क्योंकि अगर आप कोई भी चीज एक्सपोर्ट करना चाह रहे हैं टू द मिडल ईस्ट, टू यूरोप, टू EU, एनीवेयर, आपको ये सारे लैब टेस्ट और सॉइल टेस्ट और वाटर टेस्ट करना जरूरी है. बिकॉज इफ देर नॉट इंटीग्रेटेड और आप नहीं बता सकते कि सॉइल में कौन से पेस्टिसाइड्स यूज हुए हैं या किस तरह का इंस्पेक्शन हुआ है, देन दे विल नॉट टेक द गुड्स क्योंकि वो चीजें सारी अब रिक्वायर्ड हैं. एंड फिज्मा जब यहाँ US में देयर इज अ बिग लॉ ऑर्गेनाइजेशन एक्ट, FSMA is related to USDA और FDA, और वो इस तरह से अप्लाई करेंगे कि कोई भी चीज FSIS फूड सेफ्टी इंस्पेक्शन सर्विस के थ्रू जब एक्सपोर्ट होती है तो वो रिक्वायर करेंगे कि FSMA अप्लाई हो उस चीज पे. और आप 24 आवर्स में अगर वो आपको स्टॉप करते हैं, they will stop you because it's their job, they will stop and say कि ठीक है, we're stopping this food at the port. Tell us आज Monday morning 8 a.m. अब Tuesday morning 8 a.m. in 24 hours we want to know इसकी ये कहाँ से हार्वेस्ट हुआ और इसका सारा हमें रिकॉर्ड चाहिए. एंड अगर आप वो रिकॉर्ड 24 आवर्स में नहीं प्रोवाइड कर सकते, they will reject your shipment. And that's the worst thing in the world. You don't want that. You want कि आपका shipment पहुंचे and you get payment. So if you get rejected and then there goes, जो कुछ भी आपका प्रोड्यूस है वो तो फिर खराब हो जाएगा and it cannot move further. तो that is why कि ये सारी चीजें इंक्लूड होना जरूरी है. Water usage, field registration, and again यहाँ 8 चीजें, that's because हमारा जो कस्टमर है लोटस, उसका ये सैंपल है and they required us to, this is what their supply chain was. So ये 4 चीजें, इनमें से आप 2 चीजें ऐड कर सकते हैं, 3 चीजें निकाल सकते हैं. However you want to do it, we can change it. This is a sample, and वो चीज मैं बार बार दोहराती हूँ क्योंकि I want to make sure people realize कि ये is not like a set regimen कि this is the only way we do it. लेकिन this also has जी
रजा खान का सवाल है.
जी
Assalamu alaikum. So thanks for the presentation, very interesting. My question is regarding data integrity.
हाँ जी
Are there any built-in checks into your software, जिसमें through which you can ascertain कि जो इन्होंने middleman की बात की है अभी पहले जो साथ है
हाँ जी
कि because यहाँ पे पाकिस्तान में तो very well entrenched एक middleman की value chain है. आरती तो is one of the main players. उससे पहले फड़िया भी होते हैं यहाँ पे. So anyway, so there's a well entrenched supply chain. But how can the system detect कि जो उन्होंने data enter किया है वो सही है कि नहीं? Is there any system that can help to raise red flags?
हाँ जी
So that's first. So that's the first. And secondly, how can आपने इतने clients को solution दिया है? So how can one motivate or incentivize the middlemen to punch in the right data, because we've seen that many such mobile based systems that, for example, in agriculture department हमने उनको इसको digitize करने के लिए उनके performance management को digitize करने के लिए mobile phone की application बना के दी और जिसकी बेस पे वो अपना data input करते थे कि हमने in farms गए and all that. So even then वो उनको काफी problem होती थी. Yeah, they would not feel incentivized to or motivated to punch in the data. तो वो कैसे आप थोड़ा behavioral change ला सकते हैं या कोई ऐसी चीज इसमें incentivize कर सकते हैं? So these two parts of the question. Thank you.
जी thank you so much Raza sir for your questions. So सबसे पहला आपका था about integrity of data. ठीक है, that's an essential thing of traceability. We do it two ways. And those solutions there for two sizes of markets, if you're talking about small farmers and then large and mid-sized companies. So this is throughout the system, yes, is a part of the system वो small or large के लिए भी काम करता है, which is permission based. So कुछ भी जो चीज़ है in OpsSmart, in order for you to have access to it, you have to have permission to it. So agar aap you're an executive or you're the owner of this processing plant, jo cheezein and jo inputs you will see in the system, the person jo processing plant mein jo aloo sort kar raha hai ya zucchini sort kar raha hai, that person will not have access to that information. That person will also not have access to change information. So once they have entered it, it is done deal. उसके बाद they can't go back and say, ओहो यार हमने इसमें गलती कर दी, उसको change कर दें, ये कर दें. It is all permission based, and that also protects the integrity of the data. कि ये चीज़ is entered and it is done, and it is also permission based. So not everyone has access. Can't go in and say कि 5 kgs को 5.2 कर दो. Can't do it क्योंकि they don't have access to it. The other way of managing integrity, which we've done with our other customers, is कि अगर आप data capture करें instead of human capture, if you have digital capture of data, meaning अगर आपके जो IoTs हैं, आपके weighing scales हैं या आपके temperature gauges हैं, और अगर those things are directly transferring information to OpsSmart, to the cloud, फिर आपका वो नहीं होता कि भाई हम तोलते हुए उसने इसमें गलत कर दिया या उसमें गलत कर दिया. So that is one way of doing it, permission based and transferring data electronically. तो आपकी चीजें preserve हो जाती हैं. The larger solution for larger and mid-sized companies is of course blockchain. So blockchain, OpsSmart is built on blockchain. It doesn't have to have blockchain because small farmers usually can't afford it और ज़रूरी भी नहीं होता उनके लिए. Like for mid to large size companies, I think is essential to have blockchain because then you get exactly what you're talking about. You have integrity of data, or wo information cannot be changed from record to record because it is built on a blockchain solution, and blockchain ki history comes from finance, which the whole thing was built ताकि कोई चीज भी बदल ना सके from left to right. What you change, I know. What I change, you know. And so those are the two ways that OpsSmart has guaranteed integrity of data. Raza Sahab, did that answer your question?
Yes, so that's very helpful. Thank you.
Okay.
And if you can just also comment on the second part of the question, how do you motivate or incentivize these middlemen to ensure that they do punch in the data?
Yes, absolutely. It's once it has traceability, क्योंकि अगर the thing is कि compared to everything in the market, कोई चीजें जो market में आ रही हैं ना उसका कोई पता है कि किस तरह का fertilizer है, किस तरह का pesticide है, किस तरह का farm था, उसको treat किस तरह किया, and you go and try and sell it to a high value customer, and then your customer one, the other person, your supplier one, supplier two says नहीं मेरे पास तो ये भी information है, ये भी information है, ये भी information है, look, I have it. What you have is a value added product. So when you have a value added product, then that value brings more cash flow downstream. So the way to incentivize, in my opinion, the best way is always money. So if you can get more for your product, then you can pay more for your product. You pay more for your product, that goes down the line. फिर आपका जो all your middlemen are being paid more, and hopefully the farmers being paid more. So I think the best way to incentivize this is to differentiate yourself कि हमारा product बाकी market के product से बेहतर है, क्योंकि देखें हम prove कर सकते हैं कि हमने कोई बुरे chemicals नहीं use किए, हमारा पानी भी tested है, हमारा chemical भी clear है, और हम जब harvest करते हैं तो हम उसको इस temperature पे store करते हैं कि उसकी quality रहती है और खराब नहीं होती, और हम आपको ये चीजें बता भी सकते हैं, कोई भी देखना चाहे we can share it with you. और end of the line ये होता है कि you can then have a QR code जिसमें आप customers को empower करते हैं कि आप देखें QR code ये scan करें और आपको पता चल जाएगा कि ये वाला आम इसी local farm से आया था और ये 2 दिन पहले harvest हुआ है और अब आपके grocery store में आ गया है, तो वो बेहतर आम है बनिस्बत an आम जो पता नहीं कहाँ से आया है कि इसकी quality का आपका कोई guarantee नहीं है. So the best way to incentivize is value added product. Value added product means कि आपको उसको फिर backup करना पड़ेगा with documentation and credentials. I mean, why do people pay more for a regular handbag than a Gucci handbag? It's got credentials. It tells you what it is. It's a better product. It's value added. So I don't know. I hope that answers your question.
Yeah. So basically what you're saying is that it is demand driven. It has to come from the client. And usually ये client जो होगा typically is more quality conscious. उसके जो आगे end customers हैं, they will also be quality conscious and willing to pay a premium, which then eventually gets passed on to the middleman and to the farmer eventually.
Absolutely. And I completely realize this is not a solution that everybody is ready for. Okay, ये चीज globally traceability is a growing market, very fast growing, क्योंकि regulations all over the world are requiring it. सब कह रहे हैं कि भाई किसी ना किसी तरह का regulation जरूरी है और किसी भी और हमें पता करना है, और ये because of COVID, because of wet food markets, because of ये सारी conversations के through people have started asking कि ये हमारा खाना कहाँ से आ रहा है, because of sustainability conversations people are asking. And the other way of looking at it, Raza साहब, is कि हमारी ये जो agri forum जो उसमें अक्सर बात होती है water usage, sustainability of our process, controlling how well we're doing it. तो एक चीज ये है कि भाई इसको आप map कर रहे हैं, keeping the end customer in mind. The other way to look at it as a system, as a growing farming producing system, आप उसमें efficiencies कैसे ला सकते हैं? You can only bring efficiency into a system अगर आप understand करें all the data that is entering the system और उस data को आप analyze कर सकें. अगर आपको वो data पता ही नहीं है कि हमारा कितना wastage पानी का हो रहा है या हमारा कितना wastage chemical का हो रहा है, do we really even need to use this chemical? और वो product जो harvest हो रहा है कितना waste हो रहा है, कितना ship हो रहा है, अगर आपके पास वो data है ही नहीं आपके सामने for you to look at, manipulate, understand, then you cannot improve your processes and become a more efficient, profitable business. So traceability के काफी angles हैं. एक तो end user हो गया, done. दूसरा हुआ आपका अपना system. You can only know your system if you study it. और आप किस तरह से study करेंगे अगर आपके पास data ही नहीं है? So, and the age is digitized. I mean, आप जितना भी, I know people are fighting it in the US also कि भाई हम, you know, पिछले 200 साल से grow कर रहे हैं the way we're growing, why do we need to digitize? but we're all using iPhones जो हमारे अम्मी अब्बा तो नहीं यूज करते, हम भी नहीं यूज करते थे when we were kids, quite honestly. So I think it's the trend, and if we want the global supply chain, if we want Pakistan exports to grow, if we want the products to be of a greater value, a better value, and prove कि वो better product है, we have to bring changes, and change is not easy. ना वो जल्दी होगा, लेकिन होना जरूरी है. How you choose to do it, of course, is आपका discussion.
Right. Can you just a minor comment on that?
हाँ जी.
In your opinion, this demand for traceability is, driven mainly through regulations or through customer preferences also, and particularly in a country context, in a socio-economic context, like Pakistan, which trigger is more, doable in terms of implementation? You think this can be, the demand for traceability can be generated through regulations or through some cultural change / awareness campaign and what have you? So if you can just comment on that based on your wide experience of different countries.
I think it's multi-pronged approach. So regulations, I think, are needed. क्योंकि unfortunately, कोई भी मुल्क हो जाए, doesn't matter. Why would if farmers हमेशा, and farmers all over the world, their profit margins are usually very small. आप यहाँ का ले लें, आप पाकिस्तान का ले लें, आप थाईलैंड का ले लें, their farmers are, most are 80% तो छोटे farms होते हैं ना, कहीं की भी आप ले लें, उनकी profits भी minor ही होती हैं. उस minor profit margin में वो क्यों कुछ करेंगे unless they're required. ठीक है, that's a given. So regulations are a must. Regulations are a must for any country अगर वो चाहते हैं कि their citizens are going to be safe, कि आप इस तरह से नहीं कर सकते, आप सीट बेल्ट लगाएं, आप स्मोकिंग के लिए ये ना करें. I mean, these things are everywhere, right? We're required, तो we do it. हम क्यों सीट बेल्ट लगाते हैं? पाकिस्तान में तो फिर भी रिक्वायर्ड नहीं है, यूएस में तो हर बंदा सीट बेल्ट लगाता है, क्योंकि अगर आप नहीं हुआ आपको टिकट मिलेगी.
Yeah.
So
Sharmeen, just in the interest of time, it's we're 40 minutes in.
Oh my goodness.
There are a couple of other folks who have raised their hands as well who want to ask questions, but I want to ensure first that you finish off your presentation, and then if there's any follow-up conversation that can also follow up on the group as well. But just handing it back to you.
Agreed. So I'll hold off to answering any more questions. I'll go on. Thank you, Saad, for the time. Think मैंने time देखा नहीं. Oh, it's 9:40. ठीक है. So this is a mango map. So when we're talking about supply chain, mapping the supply chain, this is how we do mangoes. So you can look at it. This is how we design a solution for somebody. This is different. कहाँ शुरू हो रहा है, कहाँ implement हो रहा है. Then when it comes to our actual system, this is what it converts into. So the land preparation, the planting, the chemical, the raw materials, each icon is a process. Each red number on top is a record. So if you talk about raw material receipts, just पे मेरा cursor है, there are 581 records of the raw material receipts. Or when you can scroll down and look at each record, you can sort the records. तो अगर आपको कोई एक customer से या एक land preparation से या आपने shipment किया है कहीं और वो shipment से call आ रहा है कि भाई इस particular farm का issue है, you can go into shipment, look into that farm, look into invoice number and trace it back, ताकि you can find your problem, your solution, your issue. So this is what our system looks like. Moving on, we, like जैसे मैंने शुरू में कहा था, we don't just do produce, we do produce, livestock, protein, fish, we do everything, including poultry. So this gives you an idea. This is interesting. It's a processing plant. आप यहाँ picture of a cow है, but you can put a goat here, you can put a chicken here, it doesn't really matter, or a fish. We track through lot numbers and unit codes. So agar we get 50 cattle heads delivered at the processing plant, at the slaughterhouse, unko hum mark karke kis tarah se through the process we follow it, raw material preparation, usage, production, marination. Har jagah, if you look, we have lot numbers and then we have sub lot and sub batch numbers. So un pe hum numbers assign karte rehte hain, and at the end you end up with a GS1 which is a standardized global organization, a GS1 code. जो आप scan करें तो you would get the complete flow of that map of that product of how the cow started from arriving आपके gate पे to leaving in a package going to a grocery store. And again, we can talk about this more as we have time. We do cattle, as I said, so parent stock के हर चीज पे हम कर सकते हैं. These are the modules I mentioned. Quality हो गई, farm हो गया, freight हो गया कि कहाँ movement हो रहा है, air tags हैं तो QR codes use हो रहे हैं, slaughter houses हैं तो उसकी कौन सी chemical inspection हुई है, कौन सी receipts हैं, कौन सी temperature gauging है, meat को अगर age किया जा रहा है, हर चीज can be captured. And again, ये सारे master data are designed by the client. So some want one thing, some want another. This is just an example. This is cattle. Same thing for poultry trace. We can also do poultry. We start all the way at the feed mill. So for Tesco, जो हमारा customer है, उनका हम पूरा feed mill करते हैं, and then उनका, they of course harvest, are very big producers. So उनके लिए we do feed mill and all the way through their pig trace. But we also do poultry trace from parent stock. क्योंकि अगर आप organic कह रहे हैं, which is the growing field, अगर आप organic कह रहे हैं तो parent stock, उसकी क्या parentage थी, कहाँ origin of the flock था, quality, production, and this is of course can also be reflected then into GPS locators. अगर आप farm को, and this is being done, I just talked to a company yesterday, जो GPS locators use कर रहा है in Pakistan for farms. If you have for chickens, when you have avian flu, when you have different types of disease, often with GPS locators, then you can quadrant and say कि अगर हम chicken, if we're a farmer and हम poultry farm है और हम chicken को process करते हैं और अगर इस area में avian flu है तो उसकी 25 मील around के radius से हम कोई अब accept नहीं करेंगे. And the best way to do that is by GPS. And we've done it before. जो हम कह देते हैं ये सारे farms, anything coming from these areas is no longer acceptable. So it can be used for that. We do seafood, the farm ho gaya, fish ho gaya, chemical testing of the water, production size, packing quality, everything else can be there. This is feed mill. This is for Tesco. So it's unka obviously production process is huge from the daily raw material analysis all the way through. It's huge numbers and a very complicated one. लेकिन ये simple भी हो सकता है depending on आपका क्या process है. We also do Thai silk in Thailand. ये मैं इसलिए रखती हूँ क्योंकि we have done silk, so we can also do cotton क्योंकि the basically process तो वही हुआ कि land preparation है, planting है, fertilizing है, फिर harvest है, and then the growing and actually the reeling and the thread and all of that, the dyeing and the heavy. So can easily be adapted to cotton if the need is there. Capability of system, this is for beta grow on a daily basis. हम 32 farms के parent stock process करते हैं, chickens, many eggs, hatcheries, farm growth farms, slaughter farms, and further processing जो होगा आपकी sausage हो गई या आपकी marination हो गई, chicken nuggets हो गए, whatever you might have it. So capacity system is huge. Why would you want OpsSmart? I think it's cheese we've touched on a little. Export requirements globally are becoming digitized. I know in US definitely they're saying we no longer want paper bill of landing. We want a digital bill of landing, digital packing list. So you have to make sure that at some point information starts being digitized. FSMA is the Food Safety Modernization Act. Your US May is going to become law in November. And US food importers are responsible for verifying their foreign supplier. So agar aap currently supply karte hain, you will be required to provide digitized traceable data to your supplier ke aap agar koi bhi products, even Shan Foods ya KNN, who's national foods, jinki bahut footprint hai US mein, even they will be required to show कि भाई उन्होंने वो spices कहाँ से इकट्ठे की, the tomato ketchup हो गया या the spicy garlic ginger sauce or whatever they have, कि वो ginger कहाँ से आया, वो garlic कहाँ से आया, वो tomato कहाँ से आया, वो sugar कहाँ से आया, वो salt कहाँ से आया. They will, doesn't mean they'll do it every time, but they will eventually do it. And eventually, if they find कि आपके पास वो नहीं है information, they will then stop you and say, no, go back. Until then, आपका सारा stock इधर ही बैठा रहेगा. We need proof. It provides transparency, integrity, international food safety standards, and global market share. Gives you a competitive advantage, value-added product, जो हम पहले discuss कर चुके हैं. Recall systems are what I meant when I said कि अगर आपको कोई customer से या कोई inventory में आपको कोई कह रहा है कि भाई आपने मुझे ये भेजे हैं लेकिन आपकी ये invoice number से कोई मुझे product है और अगर you want to find out वो invoice कहाँ से थी, on a system like this, it's much easier क्योंकि आपको you go all the way from the production of that chicken nugget to the farm. Food fraud, mislabeling, misbranding, ये चीजें are global issues जो seafood के साथ हर चीज के साथ हो रहा है all over the world. With traceability and blockchain, obviously, you have the integrity. You capture granular data ताकि आप अपने system को अपनी company को बेहतर run कर सकें. Consumer trust through transparency, and the food system has is the better food system because you have access to it. These are some of our clients. Haji Baba is a client we have in the United Kingdom, meat processor for Asda. The rest are Thai companies. And this is the eventual goal जो Tesco, Kingfish हमारे clients use कर रहे हैं. अगर आप अभी भी अपना phone use करके, if you want to scan any of them, you can scan it and you will see information about these systems. And I can, I'll share this deck with Saad and he can post it on the website or he can post it wherever ताकि कोई बाद में भी देखना चाहे तो they can look at it. I'm Sharmeen, my husband and Asim and I co-own the company, we're co-founders. And the other two ladies are हमारे staff in Thailand. तो हमारी office यहाँ Vienna, Virginia में है and Bangkok में है, पाकिस्तान में भी है. लेकिन उसका staff हमने हटा दिया था क्योंकि COVID की वजह से there wasn't as much activity. So at that time we had to stop. So I will look at the chats and let's see. Saad, we have 10 minutes and I can stay on longer agar people.
Yeah, I mean, like that's what I wanted to highlight. I mean, like for the stipulated time, it ends at 10 Eastern, of course, and 7 बज रहे होंगे पाकिस्तान में. तो अगर उसके बाद भी कोई रुकना चाहे, हम वहाँ पे recording रोक देंगे 10 बजे के ऊपर, and then you can continue if anybody wants to stay behind.
I'm good to go. Saturday morning, I have nothing to do.
Perfect. So you can take up the questions that are in the chat. So I believe Khalid Shamsher's question has been answered. Can you please share an actual example of farm deployment of your software, which I believe you showed with those the different screens that you did show, right?
Hanji. So Shahzad, did that answer your question?
Khalid.
How to tap farmers are not using technology present large number. Okay, ठीक है, वो हो गया. फिर उसके बाद can you please share actual examples? Khalid साहब के बहुत सवाल हैं. Khalid, you and I need to have a separate one-on-one meeting, I think.
Definitely, yeah. Look.
हाँ, आप मुझे मेरा email address तो.
Yeah, it's on the group as well. So
it's on the group as well. So please email me. We'll set up a call. If we need Pakistan export mango, halal meats, absolute halal market तो खैर huge है. We're also trying to tap into जो Malaysian market है. Malaysian में expo एक Thai Malaysian halal expo होने वाला है, I believe in October or November. We are planning to go to that क्योंकि halal industry is growing और US में भी बहुत बड़ी industry है ये. क्योंकि मुसलमान यहाँ बहुत हैं and everybody is very cautious के हलाल हो, ज़बीहा हो and एक ज़माना था when I was a child जो यहाँ कुछ हलाल नहीं मिलता था और हम कुछ नहीं खाते थे, बाहर हर चीज़ घर की होती थी. But now you would be amazed कि क्या कुछ नहीं यहाँ हलाल मिलता है क्योंकि it's economy, right? When there's money being spent, people are ready to spend money. The market drives it. So halal meat, yes, I completely agree. Lot of IoT interventions required to ensure authenticity, integrity of data. This is where sensors are. Absolutely. I'm very encouraged. I can't thank Saad enough for including me in this group. बहुत encouraging है कि IoTs and sensors and all sorts of drones are used in Pakistan. Inshallah, August, somewhere around August, I will be in Pakistan. If any of you invite me and ask them to come to your farms. I would love to come see kis tarah se ye technology use ho rahi hai, and we can put it on LinkedIn and give it as much promotion as possible. Raza, aapka question, a demand for traceability can either be generated through reform or compliance needs of premium clients. I mean, it has to start somewhere. I think it's there, and effort is needed to, initiate. Let me increase the size of this box, I can see it better. Triggers and effort dialogue. Absolutely. I think policymakers ke saath, if we can have a forum of some sort where we can talk about this, I think conversation to ho rahi hai bahut, everywhere, globally. And as laws get passed, we would definitely, want to do it. G. Fahad, would you be open to mentoring, giving input to projects? What's GIKI? Kya hota hai wo?
गुलाम शाह खान इंस्टीट्यूट है पाकिस्तान का, एक लीडिंग इंजीनियरिंग यूनिवर्सिटी है, फहद वहाँ पे पढ़ाते हैं.
अच्छा, ठीक है. When we come there, I would love to come maybe do a talk. Absolutely. I'm not a blockchain expert, so I won't commit to something that I'm not. They can traceability implementation using blockchain and supply management and supply chain, those things I can talk about. They can blockchain key exactly technical design and all of that. I'm not a technologist, so I cannot commit to something I cannot do. Like, and as far as how blockchain uses how traceability grow, there's a Mango Growers Association that is funded by USDA. Uske saath meri achhi काफी conversations and काफी अच्छी relationship hai. Michael Manuel. So I can connect you with him and we can discuss this on what is the best way of moving forward. But yes, I would be #1 supporter of this. Kyunki and we've talked about this in other forums. Aajkal mangoes jo grow hote hain, they go from Pakistan ke jo mangoes aa rahe hain, they go to Houston, Texas. And you must know this, obviously. Khalid, wo Texas jaate hain, Texas mein irradiate hote hain. Irradiation के बाद फिर वो distribute होते हैं और हमारे पास जब आते हैं, they're like basically एक उनकी life होती है 2 दिन, फिर वो आधे तो खराब हो चुके होते हैं. The problem is the irradiation plant in Port Qasim. We need mangoes coming from Pakistan to be pre-treated. तो जो Indian company कर रही है, I don't know how he's doing it, क्योंकि your mangoes are not irradiated, are they?
Yeah, I think those are deeper dive conversations which can be taken offline separately. But regardless, I really appreciate, just in the interest of time, we can close it here. And Sharmeen, all the folks who want to reach out, they can potentially reach out to you.
Absolutely.
And I'll keep the recording on, and if there's any conversation that need to continue forward. But from a perspective of the platform, Pak AgriTech Ventures, we really appreciate you taking the time out to talk today. And looking forward to hearing more collaboration in the future as well.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Sounds